By the crackling fire in the wooden house, James holds Deep in his arms, vowing to protect her despite his company's troubles caused by a rival. Meanwhile, Deep clasps his hand, placing her faith in the future they are building together through her days of learning. In this episode 38, it's revealed that James buys Deep a mobile phone for her studies at a time when his company is in severe crisis following John's blows. Will they be able to overcome the new challenges that lie ahead? In the faint early morning light, Deep stands in the small garden behind the wooden farmhouse. Icy drops of water drip from the bucket onto the ground, seeping into the red soil and forming tiny mottled marks, mingling with the faint peeping of chicks huddling together for warmth. A thin, white fog from the nearby field settles over the large cameo mustard greens, blurring the outlines of the garden that she tends daily with all her heart. Each upright vegetable plant is like a silent friend sharing her joys and sorrows, every lush green leaf a reminder of the hardships she has overcome and the hope steadily growing in her heart. She sets the bucket down beside the wooden coop, her gaze briefly landing on the sapodilla trees laden with fruit in the corner of the garden. A simple joy fills her as she thinks of James, the man she loves, who held her hand as they walked together through the village festival yesterday, selling sapodillas under the flickering light of oil lamps. Even though he had to leave in a rush after an urgent call from his company, she smiles gently, her chapped lips curling slightly, inwardly whispering, with a tremor in her voice, from both happiness and worry, "He's in trouble at work. I need to study hard to help him. I can't let him carry it all alone." She walks toward the newly built duck pen, where the wood still smells of fresh sap, her resolve firm. "Today I'll try to sell sapodillas, so he won't have to worry." She prepares a basket of fruit, carefully selecting each round, ripe piece, thinking, "He said he'll pull through. I believe in him, and I must be stronger too." A few kilometers away, in James's small company office located in Tan Minh, a simple one-story building in the middle of vast rice fields, he sits in a chilly office. Pale light streams through the gaps of an old wooden window, illuminating his face like a storm-laden sky on the verge of a downpour. He wears a thick grey jacket, dusty from his days working at the farm, and his slender hands flip through a worn ledger on an old wooden desk. The crumpled pages are filled with numbers and scrawled, black-inked notes. Each figure seems to warn of the company's worsening state. He pauses on a page, his fingertip lingering over the line, F25 Rice Project, his heart sinking as he recalls Tuan's call from yesterday. John's company has withdrawn its investment, and the smaller companies have also pulled out. Only Mr. Duke remains. He silently tells himself, the F25 Rice Project is behind schedule, and the timber from Mr. Duke isn't enough. What should I do? This company is my life's work. I can't let it collapse. The phone rings sharply, cutting through his chaotic thoughts. He picks up, his voice low but cold. "Hello, James speaking." On the other end, Tuan's voice is strained as if under pressure. "Sir, it's bad. Only Mr. Duke remains, but he's demanding we pay double for the wood. What's your plan?" James nods, even though Tuan can't see him, and his eyes darken like the onset of night. "Understood. Keep this under wraps for now. Don't let the board know. I'll take responsibility." He hangs up and sets the phone down, feeling a pang of sadness as he thinks, "I have to save this company. I can't let Diep worry. She's working so hard for me, turning her life around for me." Through the window, he looks at the verdant rice fields, which serve as a stark reminder of the heavy burden he carries. Resolute, he thinks, "No matter what, I'll find a way. For Diep, for both of us." That morning, James drives his shiny black Ford Raptor to a small phone shop tucked away among the ramshackle stalls of Tan Minh. He's determined to buy Deep a phone to help her study and connect with a world she's never had the opportunity to discover. The soft morning light glistens on the car's paint, and beads of dew on the windshield reflect the sunlight like tiny gems. Stepping out, his old leather shoes crunch softly on the dusty red ground. His gaze is gentle yet decisive as he thinks, "Deep needs a tool to learn. I have to help her. She deserves a new opportunity." He pushes open the door. The shop is bright with phones displayed on glass shelves, a faint scent of new plastic mingling with gentle music from a small speaker in the corner. Ms. Mai, a petite young staff member in a light blue uniform, approaches with a radiant smile. "Hello, sir, how can I help?" James nods, his deep voice warm but concise. "I want a cheap phone for studying." She nods and quickly takes a phone from the shelf, showing it to him. "This one is 3 million dong, touchscreen with online learning apps. Shall I pack it up?" James looks at the compact phone in her hands, picturing Deep's curious expression when she sees it. He nods. "Yes, please wrap it. It's for someone very special." Ms. May beams, carefully placing it in a paper bag, a hint of admiration flickering in her eyes. "That special someone will be so happy." James simply smiles softly, warmth filling his heart at the thought of Diep's smile. At the farm, Diep is checking on the chicken coop in the small garden, her hands covered in red dirt as she spreads fresh straw on the floor. The dry stalks rustle under her feet, blending with the chirping of chicks huddling together. She wears a threadbare sweater, its shoulders frayed, and rubber sandals so worn that her thin toes peek through. A flicker of concern touches her eyes as she thinks of James. He's so busy, I hope he's all right. His company's in trouble, I need to do more so he won't worry. Straightening, she wipes her hands on her sweater, her gaze drifting over the lush Kaimeo greens. A steely determination forms as she wonders what she can do to help lessen his load. James arrives, his black Raptor coming to a stop outside the farm's wooden gate. The engine quiets amid the peaceful surroundings. He walks inside with a paper bag in his hand, his voice warm as a gentle breeze. "Diep, I'm here." She looks up from the chicken coop, her face lighting up at the sight of him, a bright smile transforming her weary features. "James, you're early." He steps closer, his leather shoes leaving faint dusty imprints along the dirt path. He smiles gently, his gaze as soft as morning sunlight through the mist. "I have a gift for you." Handing her the paper bag, his deep voice radiates affection. "It's a phone, so you can study better." Startled, Diep's hands tremble as she opens the bag to find a compact phone in its box. Its illuminated screen momentarily stuns her, her voice quivers with emotion. You really bought this for me? It's so expensive, and I don't know how to use it." Tears roll down her cheeks. Tears not of sadness, but of feeling cherished for the very first time. A warmth unfamiliar yet comforting. James takes her hands, his own radiating heat that envelops her cold, thin fingers. "It's okay. I'll teach you. You need it to study and to stay in touch with me, so I won't worry when you're here alone." She nods, tears falling faster, her choked voice overflowing with gratitude. "Thank you. I'll do my best. I don't want you to be disappointed." James gently strokes her hair, his heart filling with warmth and a sense of responsibility. "You can do this. I believe in you. You're my hope." In the small wooden house nestled in the farm, James sits next to Diep at a worn wooden table. The faint glow of an oil lamp flickers across the cracked surface, creating faint shadows in the simple space. The faint smell of wood smoke drifts from the small kitchen corner. With patient warmth, like a dedicated teacher, he shows her how to use the new phone. "Press here to call me, and this button is for the camera. Give it a try." Diep focuses intently, her thin, dirt-stained fingers moving over the touchscreen, her eyes bright with curiosity and a hint of anxiety. In a soft, worried tone, she asks, "Can I really do this?" James smiles, a gentle expression illuminating his otherwise serious face. "You can. You're smart. Relax. I'll guide you step by step." He pauses, a shadow crossing his features as his voice deepens. "My company's in trouble. John withdrew his investment from the F-25 Rice project, and I'm trying to save it, but it's not easy." Di grips his hand, her own icy fingers tightening as if to lend him strength. Her eyes glow with determination. "I believe in you. I'll study hard to help. Don't worry too much. I don't want you to shoulder everything alone." James nods, his heart warmed by her sincerity, and he smiles. "Together, we'll make it, I promise. Having you by my side is enough." That afternoon, James goes to the lumber mill a few kilometers from the farm. His black Ford Raptor jolts along the rough red dirt road, kicking up clouds of dust in its wake. The mill air is thick with the pungent smell of fresh resin, blending with the non-stop hum of power saws, a never-ending symphony of labor. He meets Tuan amid piles of wood stacked in disarray. White sawdust clings to the newly cut boards scattered under the scorching sun. As the sun's rays slant, the workers' tired faces reflect the strain of their constant hustle. James's voice lowers, tinged with concern yet retaining his characteristic composure. "How's the wood supply?" Tuan, sweat streaming down his brow and soaking his faded shirt, responds breathlessly. "Sir, Mr. Duke is only delivering 100 tons a day, not the 200 tons in the contract. The project's falling way behind, the workers can't keep up, the pressure's huge. They're starting to complain." James stands in silence, his eyes coldly fixed on the lumber trucks disappearing in the distance behind billowing red dust. His heart feels as if weighed down by an invisible boulder. He tells himself firmly, "This is a huge challenge, but I must overcome it for Diep. I can't let her see me fail. I can't let her lose faith in the future we're building." He clenches his hands, his slender fingers whitening under the pressure, his resolve burning like an unquenchable flame. "I'll find a way, no matter how tough it is. even if I have to confront Mr. Duke or anyone else. Turning to Tuan, he speaks in a calm but decisive tone. Keep a close watch and inform me of any changes. I'll look elsewhere to fill the gap. That evening, in the small wooden house tucked amid the farm, they sit by a crackling fire. Warmth from the dry logs fills the cold spring night, warding off the bitter chill that seeps in through the wall's gaps. The firelight plays across Deep's face in flickering orange tones, highlighting her clear eyes that still hold traces of worry. James holds her close, his arms a safe haven in the storm. His warmth passes through her thin clothing, and his deep voice resonates like a vow. I'll protect you, no matter how difficult things get at the company. I won't let you worry or endure any more pain. Deep leans against his chest, letting the warmth ease some of the loneliness that has clung to her after years of mistreatment by her ex-husband's family. She smiles, a gentle but radiant expression, like moonlight piercing dark clouds. With you here, I'm not afraid of anything. I'll keep studying so we can face this together, so you don't have to shoulder it alone. James softly runs his fingers through her hair, the silky strands slipping between them. A deep warmth mingles with a heavy sense of responsibility in his heart. You're my motivation. We'll do this together. I believe in you, just as you believe in me. Outside, the night wind howls through the gaps in the wooden house, carrying the biting cold of spring. But inside, their bond glows like a small but steady flame, burning on through the darkness and the challenges waiting ahead. As James faces a company crisis and Deep studies with her new phone, will these new obstacles shake their bond? Stay tuned for episode 39, where John confronts James directly while Deep faces a difficult choice in their love. Don't miss it to find out what happens next.
Vùng nông thôn Việt Nam chìm trong cái lạnh buốt thấu xương. Những cơn gió heo mây thổi qua cánh đồng mang theo hơi thở của đất trời, và tất cả những nỗi niềm chưa thể nói thành lời của Tử Diệp. Sau ngày cô từ chối tình cảm của Giam, người đàn ông đã kéo cô ra khỏi bóng tối quá khứ. Trái tim cô rơi vào những khoảng trống không tên, như khi ánh sáng ban mai đè nhẹ đổ xuống. Một sự thật dần hé lộ trong cô. Cô yêu anh dù nỗi tự ti vẫn như một sợi dây vô hình trói chặt cô lại. Liệu tình yêu ấy có đủ sức vượt qua những rào cản của số phận, hay chỉ là một giấc mơ ngắn ngủi tan biến giữa thực tại khắc nghiệt? Hành trình trong tập này sẽ mang đến câu trả lời đầy bất ngờ và dây dứt. Buổi sáng tại trang trại nhỏ, Diệp thức dậy sớm hơn thường lệ. Cô đứng bên khung cửa sổ cũ kỹ, nhìn ra khu vườn rau xanh mướt đầy dần nảy mầm, lòng chợt dần lên cảm giác bình yên hiếm hoi. Nhưng sự bình yên ấy nhanh chóng bị xáo trộn khi cô nhìn thấy Giam, người đàn ông với nụ cười ấm áp đã làm trái tim cô rung động. Cô nhận ra mình yêu anh không phải từ hôm qua mà từ rất lâu, có lẽ từ khoảnh khắc đứng trước cô, bảo vệ cô khỏi sự tàn nhẫn của bao những ngày, khi cảm giác ngọt ngào ấy len lỏi trong vào lòng. Nỗi tự ti lại trỗi dậy như một con sóng dữ. Mình là ai mà dám yêu anh ấy? Một người phụ nữ nghèo khổ, từng bị chồng bỏ rơi, không cha không mẹ, mình không xứng đáng. Cô tự nhủ, đôi mắt mờ đi vì những giọt nước mắt kìm nén. Diệp bước chân ra, đôi tay gầy guộc ôm lấy mình để xua đi cái lạnh của cơn gió sớm. Cô cúi xuống nhìn Haki, chú chó đang bẫy đuôi bên chân cô, và mỉm cười yếu ớt. Haki, bạn đã đói chưa? Cô hỏi với giọng dịu nhẹ nhàng như nói với một người bạn thân thiết. Cô lấy chút thức ăn căng bếp nhỏ xuống đặt xuống quan sát Haki đang ngấu nghiến với đôi mắt long lanh. Nhìn chú chó, cô cảm thấy lòng nhẹ nhõm hơn một chút, nhưng nỗi dây dứt về giam vẫn không ngừng